Shalom to the nation of Israel. First and foremost, before I get into my lesson, I want to start off by giving all praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Ha-Chodash. Secondly, double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and the brethren on down. And right before I get into this lesson, salutation, to the hopeful elect, that's scattered worldwide, that's in the faith, and those that's involved in the ministry, and just as before I get into this lesson, the message or the videos goes out to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which we are the true biblical Hebrew Israelites according to the Bible, and also to the Israelite foreigners that scattered amongst the heathen nations and that may take on the physical appearance or look of another nation. But if your bloodline goes back to Negro, Latino, or Native American descent by the seed of your father, you are considered an Israelite as well. Shalom. Once again, I'm the brother Shaquat Gabar, coming at you with another quick lesson. And in this lesson, I want to focus on, the downfall, of the biblical Edomites, mainly when it comes to these elites that's in power, when it comes to these central bankers, those that call themselves, the illuminated ones, the Illuminati, the secret society, like I say, the central bankers, these elites that's in power, as we're at the point of numb, at the peak of their rulership, as we're approaching a downfall, they want to introduce, the capitalization of what they have of their agenda called on the NWO, and that's all in the scriptures, because we in the time now of the biblical Edomites, the so-called white race, that's in power, and at the time they want to forward their agenda, they want to come with a NWO, like I say, mainly when it comes to them crashing this society, here in America and worldwide, when it comes to the financial system, and they want to introduce, a new currency in a digital format that's all going to tie it into Revelation chapter 13, verse 16, the mark of the beast, or the MOTB, which is known as the RFID microchip, that's going to replace the physical dollar, as America's on the verge of a financial crash. And throughout that process of time, these elites also, is going to bring the time of dictatorship, tyranny, technocracy when it comes to their technology, more surveillance, more patrol, when it comes to martial law, detention centers, concentration camps, strict legislations, but the whole point of it, when it comes to these elites, eventually they're going to be disappointed when it comes to who the world ignorantly call Christ, Yahweh Shai, second coming, when it comes to Yahweh Shai's second coming at the peak of the Third World War, which is going to lead to this place, America, totally destroyed by the way of thermonuclear missiles. And that's also going to bring in the time of Yahweh Shai bringing deliverance or salvation to the elect of the nation of Israel, when it comes to the 144,000 and the 1/3 that's destined to be saved, and simultaneously, like I say, the missile's going to be launched. They'll destroy this place, America, and that's going to lead to the downfall, of the Edomites, But when it comes to these elites, they're going to escape the missiles as they're going to be in their retreats, or their bunkers, or their hideouts, just to be reserved for captivity, Because when it comes to the kingdom, these heathen nations, start with the biblical Edomites and the rest of the heathen nations, they're going into captivity, once the Lord delivered the elect, But like I say, prior to that, okay, it's gonna be a lot of judgment here in America when it comes to Jacob's trouble. Okay, Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7. Okay, and during that time, only the elect is going to be delivered, because according to Zechariah chapter 13, verse 8, 2/3 of Negro, Latino, and Native American descent is going to be destroyed here in America. Okay, like I say, during the time of martial law, okay, detention centers, on the coming of civil wars, civil unrest, okay, race wars, okay, anarchy, famine, pestilence, okay, biological warfare, okay. You know, so, you know, we at the time that these elites, in their mind, okay, they're thinking they're going to rule forever when it comes to the NWO. Okay, but let me go ahead and get into the scriptures, and I'll expound more, you know, just going through the spirit. And I'm going to start off with Psalms, the 2nd chapter, verse 1. It says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Okay, going to these heathen nations, starting with the biblical Edomites, okay, which is primarily our number one enemy, okay, right along with the rest of these heathen nations. And you can read about that in Psalms, the 83rd chapter, okay. But these elites are in rage mode when it comes to them thinking they're going to forge their NWO and establish their NWO, thinking they're going to rule forever, man, okay. The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together, okay, going to these elites, starting with Esau, Edom, and these heathen nations that's in league with them, okay, trying to forge this NWO, as we're seeing now, okay, those that's paying attention, okay. The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and his anointed, okay. And then when it comes to their secret councils, okay, they would Bilderberg, okay, they WEF, they WHO, okay, they summits, okay, you know, meetings, okay, G5, G7 meetings, okay, when it comes to their, you know, their plans, okay, and mainly of their plans is to cut us off as a nation when it comes to you Negro, Latino, and Native Americans, okay. And it says, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us, okay. And that's what they want to do, okay. They want to continue on to destroy us as a nation, but Yahweh Shema Shai is raising up the elect, okay, when it comes to repenting, okay, come back acknowledging our heritage, acknowledging our power, okay, in the times that when it comes to prophecies, by the way of the prophets, that Yahweh Shema Shai eventually going to lift up a standard, okay, when it comes to Isaiah chapter 59, verse 19, okay, as Esau ready to come in as that flood, man, okay, with his draconian measures, his strict legislations, like I say, his troops, okay, the MOTB, okay, and it says, verse 4, hey, but only the elect is going to be delivered, okay, and at the process of time, as the Lord raising up, at the time now, the Lord raising up the elect, okay, this word is getting out, exposing Esau, Edom, okay, and their agenda. And it says, continue on, hey, by the way of the internet, and it says, continue on, he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. Yeah, so Yahweh Shema Shai got Esau, Edom in derision, thinking that they somehow going to get rid of the existence of a higher power, okay. They're going to, you know, come after the Lord's people, trying to cut us off as a nation, okay. They're going to CHIPPED, all nations, and thinking they're going to rule forever, man. Okay, they, through their technology, they talking about, you know, transhumanism, immortality, okay, AI, okay, that's going to, you know, lead to the NWO, okay, which the Lord got him in derision, man, okay, got him set up for a great fall. And it says, then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore pleasure. Okay, that's when the Lord bring the judgment upon this place, America, ultimately, by the way of the missiles. Like I say, leading to eventually Esau, Edom, these elites, okay, as they're going to be in their retreats, and these heathen nations that remain, okay, eventually they're going to go into captivity, man, okay. up under us, okay, starting with Yahweh Shai, okay. Yet have I set my king upon the holy hill of Zion, okay, starting with Yahweh Shai, okay. Then the rest of the, the elect, okay, and part of that elect is going to be King David being risen up, okay, the 12, okay, and the rest of the elect, which considered the 144,000, and the 1/3 that destined to be saved, okay, and eventually all Israel, okay, because the 2/3 that perish on this side or die in this lifetime, they're going to come back in the kingdom, being sons and daughters of the elect. And the heathens that perish on this side, they're going to come back in the kingdom, okay, of the being sons and daughters of the heathens, okay, being reincarnated, okay, to go into captivity, okay. And it says, verse 7, I declare the decree, the Lord has said unto me, thou art my son this day, and I have begotten thee, okay, starting with Yahweh Shai, okay, from the tribe of Judah, okay, that's going to issue in the kingdom of Israel, okay. And it says, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine heritage, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. And that's when Yahweh Shai is going to return, okay, deliver the elect, okay, leading to Esau, Edom, and his heathens, eventually going into captivity, okay, which the kingdom of Yahweh Shai, by default, the kingdom of Israel, is going to be here on the earth, back in the land, okay. Well, I say back, start off with, also, I say that the land of Israel is going to be destroyed by the way of thermonuclear missiles, okay, just for that land to be cleansed, because the phonies that's over there, they are not the original people, okay, when it comes to Esau, Edom, okay, or Amalek, okay, those phony J.E. dubs, okay, and I'll keep it like that, and that land going to be cleansed, just for it to be rightfully owned again by us, the true biblical Hebrew Israelites, like I say, which happen to be Negroes, Latinos, and Native American descent, okay, starting with the elect. And the heathens going to build our kingdom up for a 1,000-year period, okay. And after the 1,000-year period, the only nation that's going to be done away with are the biblical Edomites as a whole, okay. Obadiah 1:18, okay. But we're going to possess these heathens, okay. In Revelation chapter 13, verse 9, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints, okay. When it comes to these elites and these heathens going into captivity and being judged, man, up under our rulership, okay, which is going to be a righteous kingdom, okay. And it says, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine heritage, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron, that rod of iron representing rulership. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a pottle vessel, okay, because we're going to have those scepters, okay, a rod of iron, okay, it's going to be a physical scepter, okay, that's going to execute judgment on these heathens, okay, and we're going to be immortal, okay, when it comes to the nation of Israel, starting with the elect, we're going to have full spiritual power, okay, we're going to be fully righteousness, having full authority over these nations and judge them, okay, by the way of the law, statutes, commandments, okay, and the punishment what they have done unto us, okay, when it comes to this lifetime and in the past, man, okay, and when it comes to the wickedness that Esau, Edom, and these heathens have pushed for years, man, okay, and it says, be wise now, therefore, O you kings, okay, it's talking to us, okay, us are the hopeful elect, okay, okay, because the elect is going to be joint heirs with Yahweh Shai, once again, okay, when it comes to the kingdom. Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings, be instructed, ye judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear, and rejoice with trembling. And that's what, okay, when it comes to this ministry, okay, us are the hopeful elect is doing, okay, when it comes to teaching the word of Yahweh Shem Shai correctly, okay, because you got a lot of false prophets out there that's not teaching the word correctly, and they're not giving that warning or what's to come in the near future, okay, but those of the elect is going to understand the truth, okay, as it says in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 3 verse 9, okay, and so we know us as in the faith, okay, us of the, as we in this calling, hopefully be chosen of the elect, okay, we know what's determined when it comes to the truth, okay, and when it comes to rightly dividing his word, okay, which is going to lead to the covering in the times of Jacob's trouble, and ultimately leading to salvation and leading to being crowned and being judges, okay, with Yahweh Shai, okay, when it comes to us ruling, okay. And it says, kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way when his wrath is kindled but for a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. And that's us, man. Okay, and the way you kiss the Son, going into embracing his truth, okay, and teaching his word, man, correctly. Okay, because if not, that's going to lead to the Lord bringing judgment, okay, on false prophets, okay, and the non-believers of our people, okay, when it comes to the 2/3, man, okay, and that's what the Lord about to bring wrath, okay, so that's it on that. Let me see, let me get on, like I say, these elites thinking they're going to rule forever, man. Let's get this. Psalms chapter 21, verse 11. For they intend evil against thee, okay, going to these elites, okay, how they intend evil, okay, by the way of the NWO, trying to cut us off as a nation, trying to cut off the existence of a higher power, okay, the God of the Bible, man, okay, when it comes to the, NWO. For they intend evil against thee, they imagine a mischievous device which they are not able to perform, okay, so they ain't gonna perform, okay, when it comes to the NWO, the Lord gonna get them. The Lord going to have them go to a certain limit, okay, just to stop them, or just for Yahweh Shai to return and to intervene. Or like I said earlier, the Lord lifting up that standard as well, okay, Isaiah 59:19, okay. So really, all that Esau is doing it, which is the will of the Lord, okay, because Esau, Edom is doing the bidding of the Lord on the left-hand side, okay, through the spiritual demon Satan. Okay, which they are the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan here on the earth, doing the Lord's bidding. Okay, and when it comes to this NWO, there's gonna come a certain time that Esau Edom, okay, gonna reach his moment, okay, just for the Lord to bring them down. Let's see, that's what that Job. Job chapter 20, verse 4. Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed on earth, that the triumph of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. And that's going to, at this time, Esau Edom, okay. So the triumph of the wicked is going to be short, okay. Hey, that's why you're seeing time speeding up, okay. That's why we're seeing Esau Edom moving, as they say, Operation Warp Speed, okay. A Revelation 12:12, okay. They're coming down with great wrath because they know if they have but a short time left, okay. How do they know they have a short time left? To form the NWO, trying to complete the NWO, okay, because first of all, they're being exposed, okay, by this word and by the way of the prophets being rising up and Israel waking up, okay. Hey, they seeing the chariots, what the world called UFOs, the spaceships, okay, when it comes to the UFO sightings, because these elites, they know what they are, okay. Hey, they know the truth, okay. They know that we're the true biblical Hebrew Israelites. They know that the Heavenly Father and the Son, okay, will appear as so-called Negroes, okay, or dark-skinned entities, okay. They know that they're the wicked, okay, but through their pride, they think they're gonna somehow upset prophecy, okay, like I say, and come with the NWO and somehow trying to defeat Yahweh Shai and us, okay, his people, man, okay. Hey, but their moment is short, okay, because they are the wicked, okay, the triumph of the NWO, okay, as they trying to proceed. Let me see, Job chapter 14, verse 5. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Okay, so the Lord already got it set up through the Spirit, and it's already been written. Okay, we just at the point of it playing out through prophecy, man, through the Spirit. Okay, so it's already been written. Okay, it's a time that already determined, okay, that when it comes to the bounds of Esau Edom, that he ain't gonna be able to pass, man, when it comes to this NWO. And as Elder Apostle Tahar, okay, always make mention, through the Spirit, when they introduce and fully mandate and implement this RFID micro, okay, things gonna move even more quicker, okay, to their downfall, man, okay, until the time of Yahweh Shai returning to deliver the elect and establish the kingdom of Israel, okay, and Esau, Edom, and his elites, starting with them, the elites of Esau, Edom, and these heathen nations, and the rest of the regular nations, okay, that remain for the nuclear destruction, okay, they're going to soon go into captivity once the elect come out of the chairs and the kingdom being established, okay. Revelation 21, verse 1. So that's it on that. Let me see. Let's get this. Job chapter 5, verse 12. He disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. Okay, going to Esau, Edom, NWO. So they're gonna be disappointed, man. Okay, and they're gonna be able to form the enterprise. Okay, when it comes to the NWO, because Yahweh Shai has come back to disappoint them. Okay, starting with this, the word. Okay, exposing them, and eventually, matter of fact, let's get this, and eventually Yahweh Shai come back to destroy them. Well, it's a lot. Madness. These apps, man. Or these ads. Let me see that. Now let me see. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 7. And it says, for the mystery of iniquity do already work. Okay, going to Esau, Edom. Okay, at this time, here in America and out of, NATO, okay, in the EU, okay, when it comes to these elites. For the mystery of iniquity do already work. Okay, only he who now letteth will let, and who's letting her do it. Okay, when it comes to the iniquity, the wickedness that Esau, Edom push Yahweh Shai Shai. Okay, as it continue on, it says, until he be taken out of the way, and then that wicked shall be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. Okay, being exposed, Esau, Edom being exposed by the way of this truth and by the way of the internet. Okay, when it comes to their agenda, their history, but mainly it focuses on the agenda that they're trying to push forward when it comes to the NWO. Okay, but they're being consumed by the prophets, okay, which are the mouth of Yahweh, Shai. Okay, and it says, with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness, okay, of his coming. The brightness of what? Yahweh Shai, second coming, by the way of the chariots, okay, the vehicles of the angels, bringing fire, man, okay, to Esau, Edom military and these heathen nations military at the peak of the Third World War. Okay, that's why you're seeing the Lord about to gather these nations over there, more and more gathering these nations over there in the Middle East. Okay, because that's where the war going to start off at. Then Yahweh Shai is going to intervene. Okay, destroy those nations over there in the Middle East or Minor Asia. Okay, when it comes to the military forces. Okay, you can read that in 2 Esdras, the 13th chapter, Revelation, the 19th chapter, Revelation, the 12th chapter. Okay, when it comes to Yahweh Shai and the angels bringing the brightness, okay, of their coming for those chariots, man. Okay, and by the way of bringing fire, okay, leading to the downfall of Esau, Edom. And like I say, ultimately, this place, America, being destroyed as well, by the way of the missiles. That's going to be the brightness also, those missiles destroying this place, America, and the land of Israel, okay? Those main two, okay, countries, okay? But the difference between the two, like I say, Israel going to be built back up, but America never going to be built back up. It's going to become a desert once the fire and smoke dies down, okay? It's going to become a desert, and no nation is going to dwell here, okay? Only thing that's going to inhabit this place is desert-like creatures, okay? And it says, even him, verse 9, even him who's coming is after the working of Satan. Like I say, because Esau, Edom is coming after the workings of the spiritual demon Satan on the left-hand side of Yahweh Shai. Because Yahweh Shai control both good and evil. Okay, Satan is an angel of Yahweh Shai, okay, on the left-hand side. Okay, or, which they will say demons, but the word demons ain't nothing but a way of saying intelligent. Okay, but they're evil angels, okay, on the left-hand side, and Satan is one of them. And these elites do the bidding when it comes to the Satan. And these average Edomites on down, okay, because they're coming after the working of Satan, okay. Not no, but Christianity teach thinking that Satan got kicked out of heaven and doing his own thing. Okay, now Satan is a angel of the Lord that do the bidding of the Lord. Okay, you can read about that in Job, the account with Job, the second chapter. Okay, chapter 1 and 2. Okay, but mainly the second chapter. Okay, how Satan presented himself amongst the Heavenly Father. Okay, and so at this time Esau Edom is doing the bidding of Satan. Okay, as we're reading, and it says, even him who's coming in after the working of Satan with all power, signs, and lying wonders. Okay, and they lying wonders as at this time, and they signs. Okay, when it comes to their pseudoscience, okay, they fake science by the way of their technology, artificial intelligence. Okay, you got that now. Okay, you got the deep fake. Okay, like I say, now you got the more surveillance when it comes to more technocracy. Okay, we hear more about Planeteer. Okay, biometrics, transhumanism, all that's going to lead into that RFID micro, ultimately, that they want to introduce. Okay, and so that's part of these signs and miracles. Okay, and I think what Revelation, the 13th chapter, verse 11, going to that. Okay, the miracles, man. Okay, that they cause it on the left hand side. Okay, which they doing the bidding of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Okay, once again, the Lord got them in derision. But that's it on that. Okay, so the Lord is revealing them. And soon the Lord about to bring the judgment upon them. Let me see. Let's get this. Now I'll get ready to close. Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. He shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High. Okay, and that's what they're doing now, as we're in this captivity. Because this place America is our captivity. And it's for our punishment. Okay, that's why we out there to tell our people about repenting and come back and acknowledge Yahweh Shem Yahushua and your true inheritance. Okay, as Israelites. Okay, that you're not Negroes, Latinos, or Native Americans, Hispanics. Okay, that those are oppression or oppressors' names that they put upon us, false identity when it comes to these elites, on down to this system here in America, this government. Okay, we telling our people and repent for from believing in these and serving these false gods. Okay, these false doctrines. Okay, that they believe that have power. Okay, when it comes to Christianity, Roman Catholicism, Islam, Egyptology. Okay, some of our people now believing in Baphomet, Satanism. Okay, atheists. Okay, science, believing in the system. Okay, but this is our captivity. Okay, and when it comes to Esau Edom, the Lord set them up to rule over us. Okay, and put the curses upon us when it comes to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 through 68. Okay, but when we tell our people these things, okay, the non-believers, they scoff, they scorn, they make mockery of the prophets, but that's all right. Okay, because according to 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 1 and 2, the Lord said, all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness when it comes to the 2/3, man. Okay, but as a whole, okay, you got certain people out here complaining, but the main ones that complaining, that's being worn out, is the elect. Okay, those that hasten in the day of Yahweh Shem Yahushua and looking for the day of salvation, man. Okay, Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4, going to that. Mark those that sigh and cry for all the abomination that be done in the midst thereof. And we look into that word mark there in the Hebrew, when it comes to the blue letter, okay, is tawab, meaning exempt from judgment. Okay, and only the elect is going to be exempt for judgment. Okay, but the Lord hear the cries of his people. Okay, starting with the elect. Okay, and we at the time of the Lord about to redeem us from out of this captivity. And it says he shall speak great words against the Most High. And how they doing that? These elites. And by the way, they NWO. Okay, they boasting in. Okay, by the way of their technology. And shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. Okay, and that time is now. Okay, but now we coming to the end of our captivity. Okay, and it says, but the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And that's ultimately when Yahweh shall return with the hosts of angels. Okay, and us are the hopeful elect to be joint heirs. Okay, when the Esau Edom is taken out of power, and these heathen nations going into captivity. Verse 27, and the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole earth shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Okay, obey who? Yahweh Shai. Okay, right along with us. Okay, of the nation of Israel. Starting with us of the hopeful elect. Let me get this. And so Esau Edom, you running on fuel. Okay, borrowed time, I say. Okay, because the scripture says, the Lord is slow to anger, but great in wrath, man. And it's only going to take 1 hour for the Lord Yahweh Basham Yahushua to destroy this place, America, man. Okay, by the way of the missiles and the chariots. Okay, and after that 1 hour, that's it, man. Okay, Esau is going to be done. Okay, and we heading into that time now. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 24. Then cometh the end, when he shall have deliver up the kingdom to Yahweh, even the Father. Okay, who's going to do that? Yahweh Shai. Okay, when he shall have put down all rule and all authority and power, for he must reign till he had put all enemies under his feet. Okay, and so that's going to Esau Edom. Okay, when Yahweh shall return to deliver. Okay, it's done with Esau Edom and his heathens, man. Okay, so that's it on that. That's the point I wanted to get. And I end off with Revelation chapter 11, verse 14. The second woe is past. Okay, and the second woe represents World War II. Okay, now we're coming to the third World War. Okay, the word woe means destruction. So we already had 2 world wars. Okay, that's why it says the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe come quickly. Okay, World War III. Like I say, it's going to be a quick war when it comes to this place being destroyed. Okay, at the peak of the Third World War. Okay, by the way of the missiles and the chariots, only taking 1 hour, man, to desolate this place, America. Okay, and leading to the downfall of Esau Edom and these heathens. Okay, and it says, and the 7th angel, okay, this is the point I want to get. And the 7th angel sounded, and there was a great voice in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his anointed, okay, Yahweh Shai, and he shall reign forever and forever. So that's the point, man. And the elect, okay, start with the nation of Israel as a whole, but start with the elect being joint heirs to rule over, okay, these heathen nations forever, man. Okay, when it comes to the first 1,000-year period, like I made mention, after the 1,000-year period, okay, the first 1,000-year period, the only nation that's going to be done away with as a whole are the biblical Edomites, okay, Obadiah 1 and 18, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and end the lesson here, and I'll pray that the lesson will edify. Till next time, Lord willing, shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom.